Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another Sunday of Anatta Speaks. Today, we have with us a globally renowned psychologist from Dubai, Dr. Susan Koruthu. She is a PhD, she is an MSc, MSW, and above all that, she's a director of CLAMM Dubai. She wears many hats at the same time. She's a life coach. She counsels and consults with various businesses to bring them on track. And she deals with addictions, especially in the youth and adolescents back in Dubai. And she is a holistic psychologist who treats her clients holistically and gets them to live life fully. So, Dr. Susan, welcome. Welcome to Anatta
Thank
Speaks.
you. Thank you.
Yes. So, the title of our talk today, as you all have all seen, is that it is Addiction and the Young. So, along those lines, we had a lot of communication and a lot of conversations. And this COVID times we have seen has brought about a lot of changes. So, Dr. Susan, in these current COVID times, have you seen a rise in a lot of issues, psychological issues with young adults or adolescents who are so used to living their life fully and being out of the house and not being locked in? So, in your practice, what have you seen related to this?
Yes, Sujatha. Hello, everyone. Thank you for inviting me to this. And yes, addiction is a very grave issue. Yes, we have to attend to it as quickly as possible if you see some signs of it. And especially youth and teens. Yes, they are more vulnerable to this. What I've seen, I cannot say it is just the lockdown issues. I think we are going to face now. After the lockdown is over, people are back to the track, and then we will see what is the rate of that or what is the severity of it. Because when they are inside, they are using their mobile phones, their internets, and they don't have any other ways to go out, and maybe they are mostly inside the house, or what they do is something which mostly we agree to. Parents also will say, when the children are on the phone, or they say they don't have anything else to do, what to do. And especially kids who are living in flats, and like they are in four walls, inside the four walls, and they don't have anything else to do. How long they will play indoor games, like board games or anything, something like that. So yes, I can see that might be this particular lockdown might have brought an increase in the mobile addiction or internet addiction, game addiction. These things may be on the rise.
Right.
That's what I expect. We can come to know slowly, because already there are signs, and sometimes parents calls and say, and I have got kids who are into that. But unfortunately, most of us are not able to help them, because to detach from that, we cannot deviate them to another thing. So that is
Mm-hmm.
a big issue that we are facing. And without mobile or without internet, today we cannot survive. Actually, everything is available there, and it can be used for good and it can be used for bad. It's according to one's purpose. As definitely there can be an increase in the addiction.
Right. Thank you, doctor. Because I have seen people coming across their children sharing about their children becoming violent and very
Ah,
mood altered when
yes.
these devices are taken away from them. So the
Yes.
parents have had a very tough time during this
Yes.
period. Right.
Definitely. Because, yeah, the kids got a freedom because they don't have anything else to do. Parents cannot say just get out and go and play. You can't do that. So
Correct. Correct.
they said, Mama, I don't have anything else to do. You can watch what I'm doing. And then not just the game or the mobile addiction. There is an addiction on the YouTube videos, and most of the
Mm.
YouTube videos are not that healthy, what they see. So that also
Mm-hmm.
going to be. And sometimes I sit and watch these things, and I wanted to see what these are. And it's a curiosity generating. At the last end, there is nothing. So people think that you
Hmm.
can fool others, and get likes and more views, and you get money. So just money
Right.
making tool, some people are using YouTube. And now today,
Right.
when I speak to most of the teenagers, also, I'm not saying that they are less, but
Right.
I want to be a YouTuber. What you want to become? I want to be a YouTuber. And most of
Mm.
the them are interested in that, and they don't understand what is how to become a YouTuber. They say anything that you do there and you get views, you get money. So I want my career as a YouTuber. This is also a very dangerous trend, I would say.
Right. So they lose focus on what they need to do, where studies or their
Exactly.
career is concerned, and they run after something which might be just a carrot at the end of a stick.
Yes, and just generate some amount of money. So they think that career is for money. Actually, they have a wrong concept. Maybe it is coming from the parents as well. What you want to do? Okay, you study, get a degree, and when you become that, and you can get lots of money to live. And I think most of
Okay.
our career and everything is oriented towards that, making money. This is creating a lot of issues. And when you connect it with existential psychology, I can see that most of the teens and youths are entering into existential crisis. That is something which
Okay.
we all need to be very careful about.
Right.
Yeah.
And this very existential crisis, Dr. Susan, can also very easily lead them into using substances. So, have you seen an
Yes,
increase in
exact.
addictions amongst the youth in the past year or so, or even earlier? Have you been
Yeah,
seeing that?
here, being here in Dubai, the country is very strict about all these kind of things. But
Yes.
yes, when you consider other parts of the world, especially India, I'm having a close watch. You know that how the situation is there, and ganja is easily available most of the places. See, look,
Yes.
what I would say is, when you have an existential crisis, you don't have any motivation to live. Why I live,
Yes.
what's the purpose and what I supposed to do, how to be productive and having a dignified way of living. Why should I, like if I get money? And the thing is, the main cause I would say, even if the child is when 5 or when the child is born, till the person is child until 30, 35, the parents are taking care of the child adult, their child adult, I would say. So when they
Right.
are ready to do that, the child doesn't feel that need of becoming a useful person, a productive person, a dignified person. My needs are met. Then when my needs are met by someone else, uh, I have some wishes and wants which are, kind of, I'm not working for anything. I'm not, kind of, I don't have to do anything to get my needs met, and it's been met by someone else through their hard work. They're actually
Right.
struggling to meet the needs of their 30-year-old child. In my book also I have mentioned it, like
Right.
I'm your 30-year-old child. So this also a cause for like increase of addictions and not giving value to life, and no empathy, no respect for the old parents or anyone who is doing that sort of help to them, like
Right.
working hard to meet their adult children's need. This also can cause like kind of addiction, because it's easy life leads to
Right.
easy ways of enjoyment. So the pleasure seeking youth is the main issue here. They can easily
Yes.
seek pleasure. That's the main
So
issue. So
it's
parents
like
has to be, yeah.
so it's a sense of entitlement that they go through, that I am entitled to all this, so why should I not do it? Why should I not be
Exactly.
given what I want? So
Exactly.
how do you deal with such clients, doctor? Because they
See,
would definitely be coming to you too.
yes, that's why I come to know that there is an existential crisis, like existing there. Now, it is a very difficult area. Like once a person enters into existential crisis, it takes minimum 48 sessions to come out of it. Minimum
Okay.
48 to above, not less than that, because every area has to be tackled and the person has to undergo very regular therapeutic various techniques and methodologies needs to be used to, at least, because they are all in denial mode. They deny
Right.
everything. What
Right.
you're saying is not right. Like you say, to live you need to be working, you need to do some. No, I don't have to, because it's been supplied to me. So what you say is, I'm not going to take it. So in such situations, it is very tough to bring the person back to the life, but it's a constant. That also, if the person is ready, that's why we say during the teenage, make sure that your child is getting in the right level of, or it has got the knowledge about, or I would say it is a life intelligence. The life intelligence is different from the IQ. So IQ helps you to understand the academics and learning area of a person's life. So you need to have social intelligence. You need to have performance and achievement intelligence. That's why when you have academic intelligence, you learned, you got the degree, and you won't be able to be successful because you have an academic intelligence, but you lack the performance and achievement intelligence. Then we need to have social intelligence. We need to manage our people around us. We need to have emotional intelligence. We need to have economic or financial intelligence, where to manage our wealth and what we earn. And then we need to have spiritual intelligence. All this intelligence work together and understand how the brain in your head and the brain in your tummy brain or your head brain, both are working connected to each other. Then only a person can become successful. So this, most of the people are not giving concentration. The olden days in our country, Bharat was always having all this completely holistic approach. But unfortunately, nowadays we follow certain other wrong patterns. We think that is learning is the only thing that is going to make it. Some people, so what, two categories of people I see: study, get a job. Studying is very important. You get a career. Some people, the other category say, why to study? You can make money without study. These are the two categories nowadays I see in my life.
Okay. So we are seeing more of importance being given to IQ over EQ, which is actually what is equally important. And so
not
this
just
emotional
EQ.
everything what you said, the
all
social
those
intelligence,
yes,
the productive intelligence, the emotional, the EQ,
everything.
the emotional quotient, etc., etc. So it's a very holistic approach that we that is required to live in this today's world. However, unfortunately, the children of today lack or that, or are not provided that. There's a whole emphasis given to only IQ, only academic intelligence, and everything else falls back and falls short. So do you think, doctor, that a residential program like we at Anatta do would help in such children, or for such adolescents or young adults or child adults, as you say? Because we also come across a lot of our clients who are addicted to drugs, and they get stuck emotionally at a particular age, and they are like that boy child, or it's like a man child or a woman child. So
Yes.
so a residential program we have seen works great.
Yes, definitely. Because now recently I have noticed that and the schools will ask me to conduct leadership programs in their holidays, when the holiday comes. And recently I have seen a trend which is towards the performance intelligence and social intelligence and emotional intelligence. They asked me to talk on that ground based on that, which is a great change, I would say, rather than having, kind of a leadership and, just lead motivate your team and get something. Instead of that, what is this intelligences are, and based on that you work. And that is, even school is an institution, I would say. Most of the time the children are spending time there. And the residential programs, why it helps, because they are into that particular environment where all these things are constantly given to them. Most of the residential programs are effective because they are working on the theory, which is neuroplasticity. Because we are creating, when they are in the residential program, they are not disconnected at all at any point of time. They're constantly in that environment. They're constantly getting reassurance, corrections, and change, and focused, what to say, a goal is there. They are focusedly motivated to achieve or go towards that goal. So their neural connections, so the neural pathways are clearly defined and constructed in a residential program. That's why addiction is where you cannot just give the person other like a regular program, like, okay, you come once in a day or once in a week. You can't do that like other therapists. They need to be in a residential program, because addiction is something where, when you look at the neuroplasticity, your head is like full of neural connections, and those neural connections are already formed. So that needs to be corrected, or that needs to be closed, and the new neural pathways needs to be created for that, a constant correction and constant approach is required. Residential program is a holistic program where you have the doctors, if it is bodily affected, that means physically, if it is showing some kind of a withdrawal symptoms and things like that, there are doctors to take care of their counselors, to take care of their spiritual, people to give them that, or yoga, or those kind of things. A complete package for the days. It's continuously done based on the gravity of the addiction, and they come out of it, and then they have a follow-up kind of a session happening, maybe monthly or in a year or something like that. And once you are addicted to something, definitely you need to be connected with someone like this. Otherwise, there are always a chance to fall into that again, because your neural pathways once formed will not go away. You can only close them and not to use them. That doesn't mean that they will completely go. So you need to be always on the alert that, okay, I am walking on the new pathway, and that has to be always my way. I will not fall into the previous pathway. This requires mostly residential program.
Right, Dr. Susan. Thank you for emphasizing on that, especially where addiction is concerned, and where we at Anatta work in a very holistic way, just as you said. We have counseling therapies, meditation, and we are available 24/7 to our clients because we live with them. And it helps in creating a new life, and that they always wanted to live, thereby creating new pathways and allowing them to be, we always say, like a residential program for addiction is like the foundation for the rest of your life. So it's the foundation laid very strongly in the brain, which they enjoy, which is living life, a regular life away from substance. And it is just a practice of that they need to do back when they go back home. And we are always there available as a backup to fall back on for a follow-up, etc. So that's fantastic, doctor. So, but tell me something, doctor. Can we identify these addictive traits in childhood itself? And can that be somewhere rectified in the personality?
Yes. Basically, Sujatha, when a child is around 6 or 7, it's first, like neural designs are formed, how to behave, how to live, his outlook about life and the people around them, how the entire system functions, and everything is formed by 6 or 7. And the child is living with that, even if the child become an adult, if there is no correction is given. So basically what happens in the children, most of the addicts coming from a dysfunctional family. I would not say a broken family. I have seen fantastically single parent is raising their children very, very confidently, disciplined and everything. But most of the families, when we say today, people doesn't know how to handle families. This micromanaging unit, the father and mother, they don't know how to mostly manage their child and how to bring them up as a very confident adult and disciplined person who is confident and having self-esteem and self-dignity, self-respect, empathy. All these things are very, very essential with having all this intelligence properly working for them. So they don't have that skill, most of the parents. So as a result, and we have a system saying that father and mother have to be together in a family, and if whatever issues they have to be together, kind of a culture. What happens is outside his family looks so beautiful, but inside it's all cracks and bad, and who suffers most? The kids suffers the most. And you can say that if the child is coming from a dysfunctional family, Sujatha, from a young age, they have a tendency to enter into these kind of things because they want that, kind of a soothing feeling. So, and they wanted to forget everything, something like that. It's an escapism. It's a mode of an escapism. Right. And if you see, because all this, I wrote my book. You may be aware that Listen, Mom and Dad, I'm your teen speaking.
Yes, that exactly. Coming to that book. That's where I was going.
I have written it after working with thousands of teens, and my teens told me all those things. So many teens told me that parents, please tell all the parents, whenever you are talking to parents, please tell this, ma'am. They told me actually. They said, if your child is stopping you from entering into their room, doubt something. So they said, and doubt something. And if they are reacting very violently or aggressively, then definitely it's sure they're not doing something good. There is some addiction kind of things like that. Maybe it is a
Right.
masturbation addiction, sex addiction, or anything that sort of. Okay. And they said they hide substances where nobody will look.
Right.
For
Yes, that.
example, for example, they will go and hide it in the false ceiling, not just on the
Yes.
false ceiling, maybe the rail that there is little spaces there. So maybe there. So nobody will just go and look there. They look everywhere, their room, and then no, nothing has been found. So they do such kind of things. So you can find these kind of behavior. They are aloof, they are reactive, they are emotionally disconnected, or they are not communicating us, like with empathy and those areas, and they are immediately withdrawn from social life, and they started to reduce their performance in the school and other areas, and they are more into themselves. All these signs are, there is something wrong with the child. So you need to be
Right.
careful when you can find these symptoms. Like what I'm saying is, don't wait for these symptoms. You think that your child is having some different behaviors which is not his no or her normal behavior. Please seek help, I would say. Just consult a specialist, ask them what exactly is that, and then they will help you to just be alert and try various methods to like engage the child again back to the normal life, or they will help you to, if there is something to find out, though they will definitely help.
Right, that's great, Dr. Susan. Thank you for elaborating on how to identify when our child is taking a substance, or all these markers, that these behavior changes, reactionary
Mm,
patterns that develop in the child when it
exactly.
wants to hide something. And yes,
and
yes,
and
yeah, you
also
were
when the
telling.
child, yeah, also the child is changing the screen. When you go there, you can say the click
Right.
click click, they will change the
Yes.
screen. That's one thing. Another thing is, you will never notice, these children are very 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 smart and intelligent. Okay, you never tell or show the child that you are less intelligent or less smarter than them on the digital line. If you say
Right.
that, if you give them that feel, they just use it. I will tell you something. See, look, your child is not capable of creating all these things. They're living on our generation who has created something for them to use. The user is not
True.
greater than the creator. The creator is greater. So we need to be more proud
Right.
that we created and the children are living in that world. Actually, we create
Right.
it and give it to them, they use, and the user is ruling the creator, which is not going to be the right trend at all. So you
Right.
need to be more confident. Another thing is, when I still remember working with the teen, and this person, my one of my staff told me that I have like after school sessions, like after school kids comes there, so we focus on
Okay.
their development. Okay, so one of my staff said, I have seen this particular child is changing the screen, and I'm pretty sure that I saw a not a normal picture. It is a little bit vulgar picture. So there is something. We tried our level best to check his laptop and everything. Nothing we could find. So then this staff is standing on one leg saying that I have seen, I have seen. I said, okay, now I need to sort it out. I called him. I spoke to, no, mom, I never does that. I don't know what happened and everything. Now I don't know what to do. So I just called his father, and I told that I really want this laptop to be checked by an IT professional, that there is something, because we cannot find any history or anything. The IT professional came and
Yeah.
then checked, nothing to be found. Okay, so I thought to the
Okay.
staff, like he said, just like that. Then
Ah.
he couldn't sit like with peace. The
He was
staff,
not comfortable. Yes.
yeah, he said, no, 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 I saw. So he came and told me that, ma'am, actually, he told me one day the trick of using the laptop when you are doing something on a safe mode, nobody can find it. Okay. So, so then we found it, and he was using. So I got him. We have our own methods to bring the truth out of the kids, right? So
Right.
I had sessions, couple of sessions. The truth came out. Yeah, he was using in a safe mode, doing it. See, this is where we need to be very careful about. The kids are very smart. They know how to hide
Right.
things from you. They're smarter. See, when they need to be the next creator, right? So the divine
Right.
order, according to the divine order, every child will be a bit smarter than the previous generation. That has to happen like that. Otherwise, the progress will not happen in this divine order. So you need to understand that, and the parents has to be a bit alert and smart. That's it.
Definitely, yes. That's a great encouragement to the parents there, Dr. Susan, that we are the creators, so we need to understand that and work on that front so that we can be more aware and alert than considering ourselves to be gadgetically challenged or helpless. And that itself is the only way we can help our young. Now, Dr. Susan, one of our viewers, Ria, has asked a question that what if the parents are unwilling to listen to their children when they are sharing, that something is going on, something is disturbing them? Uh, why are they not respecting their child's boundaries also? That also is a question that Ria
Okay,
asked.
you meant to say when the child is coming and explaining or coming and sharing something, the parent is not listening?
Yes, yes,
Okay, there that is absolutely lack of parenting skills. Absolute lack
yes.
of parenting skills. They think that if I'm a provider, I meet my parental responsibilities. See,
Hmm.
the the most difficult, at the same time,
Hmm.
the most important task in the world is parenting, because you are bringing up or developing the next generation who's going to rule the world, who's going to run the world. So if you
Hmm.
are not able to create that generation in a very confident and the right manner, think about what happens to this universe. You can see that in various areas what is happening. So that is why we need to be always careful before you become a parent. Learn what is parenting, what are the skills, and to be a good parent. See, look, when you are entering into any job, you have a on job training, you have everything. But
Right.
unfortunately, we take it for granted all the life positions that you hold, like becoming a wife or a husband. You don't take any training. And to
Hmm.
become a parent, you don't. To become a mother-in-law or father-in-law, you don't. Okay, anything in that, becoming a grandmother, you don't. Now, why I say this now, previously we never had, it was not mandatory that we have to take a training or we have to know. It is already installed in us because we are living in an either extended family or a joint family, or you are maybe in your house, you and your parents are living, but around you there are a lot of cousins and uncles and aunts, and all these people are giving you those lessons. Now we are
Right.
all micro units, very
Hmm.
micro units, and there is nobody, and most of the kids are getting married, like they go to the boarding school or they study. When they become
Hmm.
25, 26, or 30,
Hmm.
they just get married, and they don't know what to
Right.
do. They think that it is just sharing the intimacy and having kids and providing them food and clothing and shelter and education and all those kind of things are about parenting. But no, parenting is more
Right.
deeper. It's creating and developing a new generation, and the parents has to learn the skills. And most of the parents are not listening to the kids in a proper way because they lack
Hmm.
that. They don't know how to do it. I would say that's the main
Right.
reason for it. If they know, they will
Hmm.
definitely do it. They don't know, and
Right.
that create a lot of issue.
Right. Right, Dr. Susan. So I also see a lot of, so that is very important to understand that parents require, in fact, in today's world, more help than the children, because they have to learn how to deal with their own emotions, their children's emotions, how to be guides.
Exactly.
Like it's like a lot of responsibility on the parents' shoulders, where earlier it would be divided amongst the family members, but today a lot of responsibility on the parents' shoulders to deal with their children. And it's a big question mark, and they are they capable of handling that? That is one. That is why I feel, as
Exactly.
you rightly said, they need as much help and counseling also. So, Dr. Susan, don't you think then that in this world currently we need to go in the reverse order, instead of not just counseling children, but we need to first start counseling the parents and the family into how to live as a family unit? That's where codependency counseling, as we call, also comes in. It's not just
Yes.
family counseling when there is addiction, very importantly, codependency counseling, where the family therapy is happening simultaneously with the clients
Yes.
being treated. So, what are your comments on that, Doctor?
Yes, codependency is a very big issue because codependency is not being accepted as a personality disorder in DSM-5, but dependent personality disorder is a disorder which has been approved. And the dependent disorder is, again, we can say that codependency also a part of dependent disorder. And where, the problem where we see is we are always told in our childhood not to be selfish, you need to be selfless. They never told us we cannot be selfish at the same time, we cannot be selfless. We have to be in the middle with the self dignity, self respect, and like self esteem and everything. But what happens actually here is instead of becoming selfish, we are moving to selflessness. That means we self-sacrifice. We wrongly understood the empathy. We think that
Right.
if somebody hurt me, it's okay as long as the other person is getting benefited. So that's not the right way. You have to protect yourself. At the same time, you have to see that when you do something for yourself, then the other party is not getting affected badly. And that is how we all need to live with the right boundaries. Unfortunately, most of the people, as I told you, the life intelligence are lacking in them. They have not developed it. So there will be dependent disorder, there will be codependency where you sacrifice for other people's benefit and your life goes to the deep, kind of a hole where you will not be come up. And
Right.
we can see that very highly educated people become like that. And when a child is living in that particular atmosphere, and if the parent, any of the parent has caused personality disorder like narcissistic personality disorder, the family become completely dysfunctional and the victim parents become a codependent parent, chances are always there. And what happens in the kids are the narcissistic parent will have a golden child, a child who's neglected or scapegoat child. That means one
Right.
child is favorite and that child will get everything, the other child will be used for their kind of as a scapegoat person. All this
Right.
dynamics happens in the family. When these dynamics
Yes.
happens in the family, if the other parent who is non-narcissist has to
Yes.
be confident to deal with this problem, he or she
Right.
can, what can I do, your father is like that or your mother is like that, what I can. No, that's not going to help at all. So we need to be
Right.
definitely looking. That's why I say when I am going to be a parent, I am equally responsible. I cannot say that the other parent is not doing so, my child is suffering or I am suffering. No, you are an adult who is independent, who is confident, who is self-dignified person. You have to deliver your responsibility well. So you cannot just blame that
Absolutely.
person is bad. I can't do anything. I have to sacrifice. No sacrifice in family life. There is complementing relationship and there is no compromise or anything. Both people have to be respecting each other. There should be love, respect, and trust. These are the only three things has to work in a marriage relationship. Nothing else. If these three are not there, they are not complementing each other. There will be compromises, sacrifices. That's not going to compatibility. That is what needs to work in the family. Compatibility and complementary relationship must work in every family.
That's fantastic. Yes, compatibility and a complementary relationship, but that usually does not happen. And that is why families break down, and the children, very importantly, don't follow what is being told to them, but they follow what they see in front of them. So if they see one
Exactly.
parent being codependent and or being dependent and behaving or being a doormat to the other parent, then that is what they unconsciously imbibe. They will copy either of the parents' responses and reactions to different relations, to their own individual relationships later on in life. So it's very important for the parent who is fine to be aware and seek help at the right time. That is
Exactly.
where the individual dependent or codependent therapy and family therapy comes into the picture, so that the children can benefit. And of course, then once a therapist enters into the field, then even the children are receive help at the right time, so that they also can grow up to be better and more holistic or more wholesome individuals, rather than be any go into either end of the spectrum, either addictive or codependent or dependent or a narcissistic personality, etc. That's great, Dr. Susan. Thank you for emphasizing on that part of the story. So, if you could elaborate, since we have touched the topic of narcissistic personality disorder, we do come across them in a lot of our clients who are addicts, and that is there. It is part of the addictive personality also. We cannot really categorize them completely as narcissistic, but it becomes a part of that personality. Could you share some of your experiences, doctor, since you have spoken extensively about NPD also?
Yeah, I'm an MPD therapist, especially the victim therapist. So I work with victims to build their life, and that is what I'm specialized in. That's I'm focusing on. NPD, narcissistic personality disorder, is a disorder that nobody will seek help. So we cannot correct the narcissist, and once they become addict, it is if they come for therapy, I would say that's great thing, because normally they don't come for therapy. A combination of addiction and narcissism is a kind of a mad monkey is given alcohol. So I can only say that I can only connect with that. That is a clear example. I can say that if already the monkey is already creating so much of problems, and if that monkey is mad and again given alcohol, how that is going to be, performing. Right. That's the way it is. So in narcissistic personality disorder, if a person is having and he's been treated in the addiction, I doubt he will come out of it that easily. He won't come out of it.
I'm not saying it is easy, but our experience with our residential systems, which are completely voluntary, is that given the right amount of time, effort, and consistency by our therapists, and with the willingness of them to change, because they do change when there is crisis that is happening around them.
Exactly.
Even if it is for their own benefit. See, anybody seeks help, Dr. Susan, only when there is a crisis. So accepting help when there is a crisis gets them to us, and then staying with us and being willing to work step by step towards improving their own life. So what was selfish becomes centered on self.
Okay.
And so they learn slowly. They learn slowly to change.
Yes.
But time and effort has to be given on both ends.
Both ends. And another thing is there is a range of, it's a spectrum, narcissistic personality disorder. If it's a very low level, you will get them. If it is in the high end, sorry to say, the crisis, they will seek help. They will definitely seek help. The crisis over, they may go back again.
So then that is where we help the family also. So that is where equally helping the family comes into the picture. So where our systems are concerned, we work with both the person who is affected by the addiction and the family who is also suffering as a consequence of their own emotions and individual codependent victim behaviors to that particular personality. So when we strengthen this part, the family, they can then stand up on their own feet and not enable the behavior. Not enable the other person's behavior.
Exactly. So what we need to do is, even if the person is a alcoholic or any kind of addiction this person is showing. See, mostly NPDs are addicted to sexual deviant behaviors and plus infidelity. These are more evident than alcoholism, other drug-related behaviors. Yes. But what we have seen is that, yes, there is a crisis. They may go for a therapy or something. The severity, high level narcissist, there is a tendency of going back again. So that is why we focus on the victim, and the victim has to be extremely, go through extensive, I wouldn't say extremely extensive therapies to get out of it. So in our victim therapy, we need to focus on building them into a liberation of all these codependency, other issues connected with their family dynamics, and thrive in their own way as an individual performer. So all the key life intelligence needs to work in the victim. Once that person is like that, you can see a change in the narcissistic person. Otherwise, you will not be able to see that change at all. So to make a change happening in the narcissist, the victim has to be completely capable of managing or taking the control of the entire family unit. Otherwise, it's not going to work at all for the family and the children. Exactly. And the dysfunctional family will happen and everyone will suffer. So it's better the victim take that role and come out of the codependency or any kind of a fear And the main issue is when a victim is living with a narcissist, the narcissist will first break their self-confidence and everything.
Yes.
They automatically, even highly confident person also will become a codependent to the narcissist,
Yes.
because the narcissists know how to play that game.
Correct.
They are
Correct.
game players, and they just do that.
Absolutely.
So that is what a victim's supposed to know, and able to play it in the right manner. When you are opposite to the chessboard, he moves it, and I know which move I need to do, so that at least we are in the kind of a same level. Not he is not winning, or I may not win, but we know we are in draw. Something like that. Otherwise the family will definitely suffer. Yeah.
No, I understand, doctor. So when the family, either it's the spouse or the children, take help, receive help, and change from being a victim mode into a survivor, or I would not prefer to use both these terms, but I would say strengthen themselves individually and become a self-sufficient individual in all
Exactly.
counts, then they can deal with anything that comes or anybody that who is in their life in the right manner, keeping their
Exactly.
focus on themselves, at the same time maintaining a compassion for the opposite person. Only when
Exactly.
one understands oneself can one understand the other, is something that I have
Yes.
learned from my experience in work and in life. And hence, working with the family is extremely important where any kind of personality issues or addictions are concerned. So, as you rightly said, bringing this person up changes the entire family dynamics.
Exactly.
That is
That's
something
true.
that we have seen time and again in our 16 years of being in this field, also, doctor. So, Anatta has also come a long way, and every client teaches us something. And every
Yes,
client, we
definitely.
also learn, and the clients learn with us. And that is why we are very supportive throughout that person's life if required. Coming back, Dr. Susan, Monish has asked is like, if a child would like to be open to their parents or would like to share something, even if they know that the parent will react in a particular manner, how can they talk freely? How can they learn to speak up?
Now the child knows the parent is going to react badly. How to speak up?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Now, if the child is ready to face that reaction, it's fine. He says that I will, or the child has to seek help of a third person who is influential on their parents, and then
Right.
they say that, okay, I need to present something in front of the parents like this, I need your help. Like how the adult
Right.
works, the children also can work. He says that they go to grandma or uncle or some family friends and say that I need to or the teachers or counselors, anybody. See, I have
Right.
teenagers themselves coming to me. The parents say that I
Yes.
don't know why she is asking me, Susan, she wants to consult you. I said, okay, fine, no problem. She maybe wanted to tell something which she's not comfortable to tell you. So,
Right.
like that, teenagers are now coming up, and also I have seen, Sujatha, that teenagers are stopped by the parents seeing a counselor.
Yes, of course. I have seen that too many times, doctor.
See, I am
Yes.
telling many parents comes to Susan, I want my child to consult you. He is not agreeing, she is not agreeing. But I have seen the
Yes.
opposite also. The children are telling me that, Susan, mom, I really want to seek help, but my parents are not allowing to seek help. What is your problem to see a counselor? What is your problem to see a psychologist? What is your problem that you cannot tell us?
Correct.
So this
Correct.
is something which, see, the teenager become a young adult. The
Right.
parents needs to really careful about when you are bringing your child up. See, up to 6 7 years, he is observing you or she is observing you, and whatever you taught them from your actions, behavior, words, disciplining, and everything, the child has
Right.
learned it. And from 8 onwards, or after 7 8 onwards, the child started to live what you taught them. So you can see that the
Right.
behavior is happening. That's why most of the parents after 5 6, it's little difficult because the child started to show the behavior. So this
Right.
7 to 13, before
Hmm.
13, is the time
Right.
that you have got a space where you can correct. Oh my God, I taught him this, but it's wrongly entered into his head. So let me correct
Right.
it. Okay, that can
Right.
happen up to 13. After 13, they start to
Hmm.
live confidently what they have learned. They will not
Hmm.
live anything else but what they have learned.
Hmm.
Parents cannot just
Right.
wash their hands and say that my teenager is behaving badly. because I don't
Right.
know why our family follows this, and this is it, this is it, this is it. And for example, if there is a codependent parent telling me that, Susan, I never said anything back to my husband, why these children are doing this, they are talking back to their father, I never taught them this
Right.
culture. Maybe the child is upset with the codependent partner, like their mother
Yes.
or father, and they wanted to respond that saying that this is not the right thing. So learning can happen
Absolutely.
anyway. Okay, so that
Yes.
is what they may
Yes.
be presenting. So the
Right.
children will have a thinking mind, and they will start to live after teens. Parents mostly are not able to correct them. That's why they have to seek help of another person, because they know that the parents are the one who gave them that particular personality design, the character and
Right.
the personality both. So
Right.
up to 6, every parent should be focusing on developing the character of the child. Character is inside. Okay, so you develop the
Right.
character of the child, and after 7 you started to see the personality, how it is coming outside, and then you groom
Right.
the personality up to 13. After 13,
Right.
you are not able to do anything, because they will not listen to the parents, because what they have given the child started to live as an adult,
Correct.
as a confident
Right.
person who is individually doing it. And that time you definitely need a help of a third party who's an expert. Otherwise, children will only listen to them. They will not listen to the parents. That's why parents say that I told the
Right.
same to him, but he did not listen. But when you say, he will listen, because exactly this is the reason. I was living what you said, and now I
Correct.
will not listen to you. I will listen to someone else. So that is exact
Correct.
reason for it. So
I understand. So, mm,
whenever a child
whenever a
feels that
child,
the parent reacts, either he can face that reaction, or he can go and speak to another person who is more influential, and that person can be involved. Through that person, the child can present things to the parents.
yes, like a family intervention. That also is a
Yes,
great
exactly.
solution to such issues. Yes,
Exactly.
doctor. Thank you very much. Because even we have seen in our field of addiction that there has been several times the child wants to seek help. Child, or I would say young adult, wants to seek help for their addictions. However, the parent, because of fear of social stigma, or thinking that they can take care of their child, it is their child, so I can handle him or her, they become the biggest obstacles in the treatment of their child. But here, what I
Exactly.
look at, the way I look at it, that parent requires as much help in understanding the disease and understanding themselves and understanding why their child requires help too. So I think it's like a what you would say. It has to be a kind of a positive collusion between the therapist, the parent, and the child to get everyone to receive help in the right manner.
Yes. When you said the social stigma, I would say, Sujata, the main problem today we face is the extraordinary or extreme privacy.
Yes.
Nobody
Yes.
requires it. You need to be,
Yes.
you need to be visible. Why you
Yes.
are hiding? Hiding means that is not a good behavior. That's not a good thing that you are having. That's why you're hiding. Why do you want to
Correct.
hide? I am open. This is what I am. This is what my child is. This is what my husband is. This is what our family is. And this
Right.
confidence people are losing. People think
Right.
something happens, hide it within the wall. So within the wall, it
Yes.
is dysfunctional and very nasty, very bad, very, like
Right.
contaminated atmosphere. It's not at all favorable
Mm.
for the growth of a healthy individual. But outside, wow. Yeah, beautiful.
Right.
So this is
Right.
the trend is happening. That's why you are stigmatized. I go to a counselor, counselors or psychologists. Okay, if you go to a psychiatrist or clinical psychologist, we say, oh, there is a problem that. But a life psychologist, a person who is personality psychologist, they don't do that. You go to a
Right.
person, there are different branches of psychologists today. So
Yes.
many, if I list them. So when you go to them, your functional area has got some problem. It may not be you,
Right.
maybe another person causing the disturbance. Understanding it and managing it and becoming capable of handling your unique life situation is where you need to work on. You are not supposed to
Right.
sit with a stigma, because you think everything needs to be hidden, everything needs to be covered.
Right.
There's no need.
Right.
Why should you cover? I go to a counselor
Right.
because I don't know how to deal with the problem. And I go to I have teenage grooming program. Parents are putting their children from different parts of the world to me and say that groom them, Susan. Please groom them because we need all these things for them. I get from UK, US, everywhere. Kids are joining the program and they develop all the life skills and life intelligent. Develop their life intelligence and able to do that or apply that in their life. And that is where the parents are nowadays at least say that, yeah, my child is doing this program. So that's good. That's a positive trend I see nowadays. So you are not supposed to hide. Yeah, you're not supposed to hide. Privacy, too much privacy is not good. Too much publicity also is not good. So there is a balance between these two.
It's maintaining the balance that is very important. And you are as sick as your secrets. There is a saying, and that is very true in the case of dysfunctional families, in the case of addictions, because the more you hide it, the more you are enabling that particular behavior of that individual unconsciously. And then you sit back and think that, oh, that person is using, that person is drinking, that person is using drugs, and what can I do? How can I tell it to somebody else? But the moment that that hiding or that secrecy is broken, then help can be received, then help is taken, then help can be received and given.
Exactly.
So thank you, Dr. Susan, for enlightening us on that front. There is another question which came repeatedly by two people, by Ria and Mahesh, is that how does one understand healthy boundaries? Whether it is for a young adult or whether it is for a parent, what are healthy boundaries? Could you please elaborate on that with sharing some incidents or experiences that you have come across, Doctor?
Boundary setting
and respecting boundaries.
Boundary setting is a very, very vast area. If I maybe it is a 3-day course actually.
Okay.
Setting boundaries. Okay? But I will. Okay. Now, for a person to set boundaries, I would say the person should be like a lotus. Okay, lotus, you know how it is, right? Lotus live in kind of a muddy area, right? It's not very good. It's not a pure water. It grows. It's germinates from the bud, and then it's above the water, and it's tall. The stem goes, grows taller, and the beautiful flower comes. Yeah. So the situation is not a problem for the lotus. Okay. And any that come on them, it just washes off with the water and it will not stick on them. Okay. So, and then another thing is, if you search, you need to Google lot about lotus. Why lotus become a divine flower for us? Because the lotus gives a lot of medicinal things, medicinal values, too many medicinal values. It's for the healthy, life. You can eat, making it curry or, like raw, you can eat them. It gives a lot of medicinal values. So that flower is living in the condition which is not that great. But being in that bad situation, the lotus becomes so great. Okay. So same thing. Okay. You can assume that you are someone like that. And what happens is that you need to have, all the people around you, whoever is that. So you have an actual relationship with person, actual relationship and a functional relationship. So you are, maybe my father is very close to me. It ranks number 1 in the actual relationship. But when it comes to functional relationship, he cannot be tolerated.
Right.
What should I do? So I put him in the functional relationship at 3 or 4. I can't tolerate this man. He is actually number 1 in position in the actual relationship, but in the functional relationship, number 5. Maybe my friend who is supposed to be in the actual relationship, no blood relationship or anything, he can be 3. But in a functional relationship, he is 1. Very good. Okay. So what you need to understand is who are in my actual positioning of the people, who are my people and what is their actual positioning you need to do. And then you need to understand what is their functional relationship. Then you need to create a functional intimacy circles around you, boundary for each one. He will stand there, she will stand here, and this person can be close, that person can be like this. So every time, on a regular basis, as you in the networking, when we teach people networking, we said that there is a housekeeping of networking. The same way there should be a housekeeping of relationship boundaries. You check, okay, this person is okay now. Should I be checking? And how has he changed? Maybe a person who's really we cannot manage them. Maybe the father is who's so difficult. Maybe he has changed his attitude and he can come a little closer. So you need to be managing this boundary pretty well. And but one thing you always need to be careful about, you need to have I wrote in my Design Your Life to Build a Legacy, in that book, I have written how to make these boundaries very clearly. You say you need to have an area where you are into yourself. That means your complete person, as a person who you are very core space. That means you develop yourself. You like you have your dreams and plans and everything. That area you are not supposed to allow anyone to come inside. Okay, so that
Right.
area should not be disturbed by anyone. See, we don't have that core area protected. We'll say now permission is permission. What is a enter with permission, or entry prohibited, all those kind of. So that
Right.
core area, maybe a military intelligence where we have so much of secretive kind of thing. That core
Yes.
area should be yours and nobody should enter there. Not your father or mother or wife or children or anyone. You should be managing it so preciously. And around you should be the sun and others should be the planet. So that's the way you need to create your life structure. The boundaries should be managed in that particular manner. And you decide who stays where. When they encroach your boundary, you need to be able to handle them pretty well. That, no, that's boundary. You're not allowed up, more than
Right.
that particular distance or particular border. If you encroach the border, no, then I should be able to protect it. Like every country has got a border, right? So we should be
Right.
able to protect our border. We cannot say that the other country will not encroach us. They may.
Right.
Okay, so
Yes.
that is where
Yes.
we say other people may, but am I capable? Am I equipped with all the skills to protect my boundary? That's we need to
Right.
be careful about, and we need to manage it. And this is mostly the actual relationship. We deal with people, we get into trouble, but the functional relationship, we look and put functional relationship boundaries around us, we will be able to
Yes.
handle them.
Fantastic. That was a beautiful analogy through a lotus that you explained how setting boundaries and respecting boundaries are, Dr. Susan. Thank you very much on that. And now for the last question of today is that so we have spoken a lot about young people and setting boundaries, and about families who need help and individuals who need to grow to be self-reliant. So how do you think we can help our youth to be more self-reliant and not be attracted to using substances like drugs or alcohol as an escape mechanism from escaping from their life situations or escaping from their emotional unmanageabilities? Doctor.
I would say they should be more focused on existential psychology, which was our base in old Bharatiya tradition and everything. But that is not be it's consumerism, all this materialistic thing we have moved. So we need to more
Yeah.
focus on that. What is each one's responsibility? More mutually benefiting and mutually helping, empathetic family relationship, social
Yes.
relationship, and that is. And we need to come out of all this secret or secrecy kind of, like lifestyles, and more open, more connected with each other. And when we look at children with all this addition, people think that if you stop, or with the law or anything, we stop the supply of the material, you won't the people won't go it. Actually, we are not supposed to
Right.
stop the supply, we're supposed to stop the demand. When there is a demand, supply will definitely happen. It's not just because
Absolutely.
there is enough supply people are buying. No, people want it. That's why they seek, or they look go for it. So every family,
Yes.
every individual, it needs to start from the zero age, I would say,
Yes.
to be responsible, to understand the true value of life. The value of life is not selfishness and it is not selflessness. It is between those two. and having the right ego development. When I say ego development, people think that, like it is, the person's, we complain about a lot of ego. That is mostly because of egotistic. So we know that a child is born with complete selfishness. We call it as id in psychology. So complete selfishness, okay, because the child wants everything for himself or herself, and they fight for it. They're stubborn, all this. So they can only see that the world or the divine order has created that in us. So, we are all selfish. We want what we want. Okay, that is because be a go-getter, be a winner, get what you want, and you need to be capable of building yourself. All these things are good. At the same time, we are civilized. Why we call ourselves civilized? We have certain norms, culture, morals, ethics, standards of living, boundaries, or the approved behavior, or the law of the country, or the in that particular area, which controls us, right? So this is called superego. So when a child or someone is having more of it, or the selfish nature, we as adults, or we as mentors and coaches and trainers, or whoever it is, gurus of like these children, we give them the superego to them, their selfish nature or the id. And when you give it, and we need to be very careful how we give it. Sometimes we see children who are extremely superego oriented. That means they don't say anything given to them. They say, it's fine, I'm okay with it. If mama says, I will do that. If dada says, I will do it. We think that the children are very, very good children. Wow, this child, whatever I say, the child is behaving. Wow, is listening to me. There is no problem. But actually, that child is having a problem which is covert, which is inside. So that child will have definitely a problem, maybe turn into addictions and things like that later. But here you have a child who's more id-oriented. I want everything and this and that, like that child also can go like that. So what we need to do is, we are not supposed to allow the child to surrender to everything that we say. We need to encourage them to say something. What is your opinion? Are you okay with it? Right. Tell me. Okay, I want to listen to you. Bring it out from the child. And the other child say, hey, come on, control yourself. Okay, yeah, things will work like this. So you need to give this balance so that the ego in him is healthy, or in her is very healthy. If the ego is not healthy, either the selfishness or the id can control the ego, then we call them we call them very egotistic. And if the ego is not healthy, superego also can control the ego. Then the person will be selfless and codependent and all those kind of dependent disorder, personality disorder, all these things can happen. So actually, when a person is selfish and egotistic it is good for them and bad for others. Right. And when a child is more of superego, extremely superego oriented, with all money, or following all the rules, regulation, when others, they listen to the elders, obey the elders and this and that and everything, it is damaging to self and good to others, because others have an easy life. They don't say anything back. They don't say anything against us. Okay? But they are actually helpless. They can't express themselves. So I normally say, when the parents come and say that, Susan, if 2 children are the Susan, I can't manage him. He comes up with what not, Susan. But this one, I have no problem. I'm scared about this one who is not able to express himself. I say, no, I don't have a problem with him because I can manage him. He expresses, I can handle it. But this one is a problem, because this is controlling her entire thing inside, thinking that I may not be a good person if I express my feelings, my views and my opinions and my decisions. And also the child who is not expressing will suffer in life, because I will tell you an example. When there is one chocolate and the mother said there is one chocolate, and the child who is more of selfish oriented, he will make big noise up and down, and he creating so much of irritation. Mother will tell the other child who is more superego oriented, say that, my dear baby, he is making so much noise, he's irritating mama. Can I give this to him? I'll buy you some another time. This another time will never happen. Okay,
Right.
and
Right.
this child will say, okay, mama, but this child loses.
Yes.
And the child who's
Yes.
making noise will get it. So I will tell children to make noise, but in a right manner, not in an
Right.
extreme manner. So parents need to understand that both the children are problem. You need to bring them into the right manner, and they should be able to talk what they are feeling, what
Right.
they want to communicate. So an environment where communication is encouraged. The communication is not that how much you are studying, what your teacher said, what your friends said. My teenagers will tell me, oh, my mom, the parents will complain, they don't talk nowadays, Susan. And I ask them, why you're not talking? Then he says, what I will talk, mom? Who, your friend came, your teacher came, you eat, what did you do? And I don't want to talk this kind of things to my parents. This is something parents
Yes.
used to understand. So
Yes.
as a final note, I need to tell that all the relationship are considered as a structure. Okay, everything is a
Right.
structure, and communication is the lifeblood. When
Right.
the structure is there, the communication flow is healthy and energetic, the relationship will stay as it is. When there is a
Yes.
block in the communication, what happened is that the entire system goes, and it will die because there is no communication. It's blocked. And when there is a contaminated blood is flowing, what happens to the body. The same thing happens to the relationship as well. When there's overflow, it can hemorrhage happens and it can blow it up. And where is less communication, the functionality is low. It's exactly like a blood is flow in the body, and exactly like that, a communication flows through the entire relationship structure of our life. And as our heart has got a capacity to receive the impure blood and purify it and send it to the organs, we also have certain level of impurities in communication comes to us. We can purify it and send it back so that the relationship stay healthy. And this is how we need to really maintain such a beautiful, healthy relationship system in families and around us.
That is so beautifully put, Dr. Susan, and where you have laid emphasis on the core, that is communication, or I would say right communication, which is emphatic and which is to the point, realistic, and pushing that child or that young adult back to themselves, bringing the focus on themselves, being able to provide the right environment or for self-expression, for the right kind of expression. So beautifully put. Thank you, Dr. Susan. And that was Anatta in conversation with Dr. Susan Koruthu for further communication and for further ties, Dr. Susan. Thank you very much and have a
You're
great day
welcome.
ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, you too. Thank you. Take care.
Yes.